Have you guys seen the movie One Simple Question? It's awesome and you should watch it. But more importantly, have you guys seen one of these? The movie One Simple Question is the story of a young couple looking for adventure who challenge themselves to drastically simplify their lives by living aboard a small sailboat while embarking on a crazy journey to find an iceberg. Their quest brings them lessons in the joy of a deliberate life, a greater understanding of nature, and a new path in the pursuit of happiness. And I love that, not just as a movie with a sailboat in it, because we love those, but as a philosophy for life. Minimalism excites me. Finding joy and happiness is one of the reasons I love sailing so much. I love the sport of it. Sure, I never pass up an opportunity to crew in a race, but I love the simplicity of it, the spirituality, the tranquility, the serenity. You know how many boats are called Serenity? A lot, for good reason. One Simple Question is a movie that really encompasses a lot of my life philosophies, and people asked a few videos ago why it says Desiderata on the board behind me, why that poem's first paragraph is on my arm. If you go read it, I think it'll make a lot of sense. Just like the boat that Benjamin and Teresa from One Simple Question turned me onto, the Bristol Channel Cutter. And what a boat. It has its own website, bristolchannelcutter.org, and there it says, very few boats have the pedigree of the Bristol Channel Cutter, both historically and as an icon of blue water cruising. Famed yacht designer Lyle C. Hess originally based the design for the Bristol Channel Cutter on the legendary Bristol Pilot Cutter, the epitome of yacht design in the mid-1800s to early 1900s. These pilot cutters had to be incredibly quick, yet highly seaworthy, to race out to the incoming tall ships that were desperate for an experienced sailor to take their helm and pilot the valuable ship to safety through the notorious Bristol Channel. For those of you who are colonials, like me, you might not know what the Bristol Channel is. It's an incredibly important waterway in Britain, separating South Wales and southwest England. Wikipedia says the channel can be a hazardous area of water because of its strong tides and the rarity of safe havens on the North, Devon, and Somerset coasts that can be entered in all states of tide. Because of the treacherous waters, pilotage is an essential service for shipping, a specialized style of sailing boat the Bristol Channel Pilot Cutter developed in the area. The Bristol Channel Cutter has a fearsome reputation, with the UK's and the world's highest tides. The ferocity of water movement combined with underwater geography makes the Bristol Channel a highly dangerous place for seafarers. Each pilot cutter raced its peers to reach the incoming tall ships first, where the prize for showing up first was the piloting job. That's how they made money. The start of an arms race of boat technology that was the precursor to today's modern yacht racing, making ship design incredibly important worldwide. In the late 1960s, American yacht designer Lyle C. Hess used his knowledge to create a series of boats which were incredibly seaworthy, yet had an impressive turn of speed, especially in light winds. Renegade of Newport, based in California, was one such boat, and its impressive racing career caught the eye of young Larry Pardy, an ambitious young Canadian sailor looking for adventure. That's right, the Pardys are in this story too. Between Lyle, the designer, and Larry, the adventurer, the plans for Seraphin of Victoria were born, and Larry successfully built the boat by hand and sailed her with his wife Lin for over 10 years, circumnavigating the world in the process. Looking for something bigger and more capable, the Pardys once again called on Lyle C. Hess for their next boat, Taliesin, which has safely taken them over 200,000 nautical miles. So what are these boats? These race across the Bristol Channel to win a job piloting a tall ship, these uber seaworthy sailors? Well, they come in different sizes, from 24 feet to over 30, but this isn't just some boat that was built in the 60s. People still make them. In 2020, Astraea, a 30-footer, was built in Virginia. Carvel planked Alaskan yellow cedar over black locust frames on an Angelique backbone. How beautiful is that? The very popular 28-foot version has circled the planet more times than Neil Armstrong and is a gorgeous boat, 28 feet overall, but weighing in at a staggering 14,000 pounds. Its 10-foot beam leaves a lot to be desired inside, but sugar scoops and aft cabins aren't in this boat's vocabulary. Its job is to get the job done. If you want a 30-foot scalpel, buy an Olsen 30. This boat's a chainsaw of long keel, transom-hung rudder, and inboard diesel. And that cutter rig, the bowsprit brings this 28-footer to almost 38 feet. And that gives you ample sail area to scoot along in light winds, but a heavily reduced sail plan available for the heavy stuff. And the heavy stuff, they do that. Cape of Good Hope, Cape Horn, they've been around and around, and they're still doing it. They likely always will. I just want to take a second to thank the people that make this channel possible, the patrons, people who give a couple of bucks an episode to make all this possible. The mission at Lady K Sailing has always been to get more people sailing more easily, and I couldn't do it without you guys. If you'd like to help support the mission, please consider becoming a patron. This is a boat built in a time before GPS and accurate weather forecasting and meteorology. For Lin and Larry, it was just them and Seraphim, the wind, water, and waves, and the boat needed to be able to take care of them no matter what happened. And she did. This boat isn't without controversy, though. When Lyle Hess designed the boat originally, Sam Morse of California built them from 1976 to 2007, but other people built them too, paying royalties to Hess and Morse, unless they didn't pay. You see, in the US there was a HIN system, hull numbers, like the VIN on your car, but not everyone in the world used HINs. Here in Canada, back then, we didn't have them, so thousands of boats were made here with no identification numbers at all. I've owned a few of them, and people argue with me on the internet demanding that I have a HIN number, and I'm just too daft to find it. Between 30 and 45 Bristol Channel Cutters were built in British Columbia with no HINs. And as such, royalties were never paid to Hess and Morse, because there was no accountability to do so. So there could be some cutters out there in the wild right now with no HINs. Wikipedia says that Bristol Channel Cutter is a recreational keel boat built predominantly of fiberglass with wood trim. It has a cutter rig, a spooned plumb stem, an angled transom and keel hung rudder controlled by a tiller, and a fixed long keel. It displaces 14,000 pounds and carries 4,600 of those pounds in lead in the keel. The hull length is 28.08 feet, but including the bowsprit and boomkin, it's 37.75 feet. The boat has a draft of 4.83 feet with the standard keel. The boat's fitted usually with a Swedish Volvo MD7A diesel engine of 13 horsepower or the Japanese Yanmar of 27 horsepower for docking and maneuvering. The fuel tank holds 30 gallons. The design has sleeping accommodations for 4 people with 2 straight settee berths and a pilot berth in the main cabin and an aft quarter berth on the starboard side. The galley's located on the port side at the companionway ladder. The galley's L-shaped and is equipped with a stove and a sink. A navigation station is opposite the galley on the starboard side. The head's located in the bow and includes an optional shower. The fresh water tank capacity is 64 US gallons, and the holding tank capacity is 15 gallons. Cabin headroom is 75 inches. The design has a hull speed of 6.9 knots, which is a lot. A Blue Water Boats review noted that the design represents a pinnacle of ruggedness and practicality while retaining respectable performance. Few boats can take the abuse of extended voyaging as well as the Bristol Channel Cutter, and I guess it's becoming something of a Lyle Hess masterpiece. And what's all this rugged piece of world-traveling history go for? Well, there's still lots for sale. Washington, for $92,000, will get you one built in 1988. There's one in Florida that they built in 2010 that'll run you $126,000. A 2008 in Washington for $167,000. The cost is very high for an old design, but the beauty, the rugged nature, the staggering lineage of these boats, the ability to get on board, untie the dock lines, and sail off anywhere your little heart desires, knowing full well that while the world may be a big, scary, often bewildering place for you, that no matter where you turn up on this planet, this boat's already been there, and everything's going to be just fine.